One of the reasons so many of us become tutors is because we're looking for more flexibility. We want to be there for the school run if we have children. Maybe we want to eat dinner with our family. Maybe we would just want to choose when we work. We want to build something that fits around our life instead of squeezing our lives around our work, just like we did when we were in the classroom. But if you've been tutoring for a while, I'd like to ask you a question. Has your tutoring business quietly started taking over your home life? Because I think it happens so gradually sometimes that we barely notice that creep. One parent may message in the evening and we reply to it. A student may need to rearrange and we drop everything to accommodate that request. We may answer a quick email after dinner, even though we promised ourselves that this would be the evening that we would relax and switch off. You may write tomorrow's lesson plan when everybody else has gone to bed because you don't have time to do it anywhere else. And then before you know it, your business is everywhere. Yes, you work from home, but your business shouldn't be there too. It's in your kitchen, it's in your living room, it's in your phone, it's in your head. And the flexibility that you left the classroom in search of rapidly begins to disappear. Hi, my name's Jane, and I'm the founder of Vireo Tuition and the host of the Tutor Edit. Today, I want to talk about something that's incredibly important to me because it's one of the most important things that I've learned over the 12 years that I've been tutoring. And it's this: just because we work from home doesn't mean that our businesses should take over our home. And I don't think that this is something that we talk about enough. Because often the focus is we're taught to grow our businesses. We learn how to market. We learn how to attract more inquiries. We may have the discussion about raising our prices, but we spend much less time talking about a much more important question. What kind of life is this business helping me to create? Because success isn't just about the number of students that we teach. It's about whether our business still allows us to live the life that we left teaching for. Now, when I first left tutoring, I loved the flexibility. After leaving school leadership, I wanted to build something that worked around my family rather than asking my family to work around my job. And that was the main reason why I left. Tutoring absolutely gave me that opportunity, but as the business grew, I started to notice that my evenings were filling up. And it wasn't necessarily with teaching, it was everything else after the teaching. The emails, the invoicing, the timetable changes, particularly during school holidays, the parent questions, the resources, the planning, and those tiny jobs that seems too small to deal with during the day. None of them felt significant on their own. They weren't huge tasks, they were just very small tasks. But combined, they started to create something much bigger, a bigger pressure. And this created a business that basically followed me into every room of the house, not just this study. And this happened not because I was disorganized, but because I cared. I wanted to help, and this is so true of all the tutors that I speak to. We want to help people. We want to respond quickly. We don't really want to let anybody down. And these are all wonderful qualities, but they can also become the very reason that our businesses become unsustainable. And one of the biggest shifts for me certainly came when I stopped asking, how can I complete this task? How can I do it? And just started reframing and asked myself, should this task exist in the first place? And that completely changed the way that I looked at my business and started to allow me to reclaim some time. So every repeated email became a template. Every repeated process became a checklist. Every decision that I made more than once became a system. Not because I wanted the business to feel less personal, but because I wanted to protect my time for the parts that really needed me. And so many of us will say, oh, I don't have time to work on my business. But the real question here is, have we created a business where every spare moment is spent catching up on admin so that we don't have time to improve the business itself? And boundaries are so important. But boundaries don't have to be dramatic. We don't have to stop caring. We don't have to become unavailable. Sometimes it's just deciding that emails will be answered within a 24-hour period rather than immediately, or creating family time with boundaried calendared dates, or using an automated system so that replies can be sent out to parents who are inquiring while you are spending time with your family. And those kind of things create space. And that's the thing that many tutors are craving, certainly in the conversations that I have with them. Now, I ask myself this quite regularly. If things stayed the same, would I still get the enjoyment in a year's time? And if the answer is no, then something needs to change. Not because the business is not successful, but because sustainability is so important. And it can become so tempting to chase growth, to chase a number of students, to scale it to a team. But that isn't always the goal. That's not always the reason why we set out to become a tutor in the first place. And I specifically work with tutors that are fully booked, which sounds amazing, but actually they're exhausted. They're answering messages all weekend, they're teaching all the time, they are feeling permanently behind. And from the outside, they look so successful, incredibly successful. But if your business only works based on when you're available, then that can become quite a heavy place to be. And this has certainly been why one of my biggest priorities over the last few years when we've grown the team has been to create time to work on the business rather than in it. And this is where I want my working to have the greatest impact. And that's meant building systems, it's meant creating automations, it's meant delegating, it's meant improving processes so that that mental headspace can be a little bit more freed up from the day-to-day running to starting to focus on what I want my life to look like. And just actually accepting that not everything has to be done immediately was a big shift. Now, those things haven't made my business less personal. They've actually allowed us to be present when it matters the most with clients, with team members, but most importantly for me, my family. So I'd like to leave you with this thought. Many of us didn't leave the classroom because we wanted to work more. We left because we were searching for something different. Maybe it was more flexibility. Maybe it was more autonomy. Maybe it was more time with the people that mattered most to us. And the freedom to build a career or a business that fits around our lives is so important. And we have that. And we need to think about that instead of asking our lives to fit around our work. Businesses can evolve very quietly so that without really noticing, we can find ourselves recreating the very patterns that we were trying to leave behind. So before you try to fix anything, if you just have that feeling of something needs to change, take a step back and review where your business is today. Where is work leaking into your home life gradually? Where are you making decisions based on habit rather than strategic decisions? Which parts of your business are giving you energy? And what parts are quietly draining you that maybe you want to remove? Because when you look for those patterns, you can start to reclaim some of the autonomy that you left teaching in search of. Now, if you are interested, a really great start is to do a business review, a really simple business review. And you can get a free download here. If you're watching on YouTube, you will see a QR code. If you scan the QR code, you can download your free business review. If you're listening on audio, I will link it in the show notes for you. Now, this will guide you through just a series of reflective questions that will help you to identify where your business is supporting the life that you want to build and where it might just require a few thoughtful tweaks before the next term begins or the next school year begins. It will really help you to start making some decisions and see where you are compromising the freedom that you left teaching in search of. Now, thanks so much for listening today to this episode of the Tutor Edit. I hope that it's given you an opportunity to just pause and reflect, because building a successful tutoring business isn't just about filling your timetable. It's also about building a business that supports the life that you want to live. If you found this episode helpful, I would love it if you could subscribe so that you don't miss another episode. And if you would like to share it with a tutor that may find this useful, that would be amazing too. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye.